Hello!
Ah, good old Robocop, a 1987 film that still stands up remarkably well to this day. Because it's bloody great, innit? I mean, it's got a man who's a robot and a cop at the same time. What more do you want? Well, there's even sub-themes about the dangers of increasing corporate control in society and the difficulty of reclaiming your humanity in a situation where such a thing is difficult, mainly because they've stuck your head on a robot. I mean, that's not easy for anybody. Look, I like Robocop so much, I've even got a hideous, crappy, big-headed, deformed figure thing of it, made in 2004. God, they've been doing these things for years. Anyway, that's crap and I hate it. But I bought it because it came in a set with this rather nice Ed 209 model, which is pretty much in proportion. And actual Ed 209 models seem to be incredibly expensive, so that was a cheap way of getting one. Also, as a matter of interest, the set also came with not Robocop's partner, it was Murphy's partner, wasn't it? Officer Anne Lewis. And it's interesting because this is the only figure, as far as I can tell, that's ever been made of the character Anne Lewis. Well, from the movie anyway. There was one from Robocop and the Ultra Police or something, which was some awful spin-off cartoon. From that period in the 90s where everything adult had to have like children's spin-off cartoons, where there was some... I was going to say there's some sanitised TV series, keeps popping up in Poundland actually, but you could argue that Robocop 3 pretty much was sort of a family film, hence why he shoots around the enemies and not at them. Look, Robocop 3 isn't very good, Robocop 2 is alright, Robocop 1, fantastic. We'll ignore the recent remake because it was a bit crap, to be perfectly honest with you. They approached it from a good angle, I think, from the sense that they took the actual setup of the film and used it to tell a different story with different themes, etc., which I think if you're going to do a remake, that's great, because if you're not going to do that, what are you bloody remaking it for? You're just wasting everybody's time. Unfortunately, they didn't do that important thing of making it good, because it's a bit of a mess, really. It doesn't start off too badly, but then it just sort of gets dull, and then by the end, all the characters have collapsed into nothing, and Michael Keaton's bad guy has lost all nuance, and bum holes to it. Oh, crikey. Nearly swore there. If you didn't know, big changes afoot on YouTube. Well, not specifically. They've actually been in for a while, but they'll essentially demonetize your videos if you say naughty things like swear and be controversial and stuff. So from now on, I'm not going to have any swearing on this channel. Because, to be honest, it's all a bit unnecessary anyway, isn't it? It doesn't really add a whole lot to the channel. So from now on, Ashens will be a swearing-free zone. Anyway, let's have a look at today's motherfucking piss-faced lump of wanky twat shit. It's Sonic Man! Not Sonic Blast Man. That's a different thing. 8 control buttons on back of figure for 8 electronic combat sounds with light. Anybody who was alive in the early 90s will probably know what those 8 electronic sounds are going to be like. Yeah, anyway, it's quite obviously a rip-off toy of Robocop. It couldn't really be more obvious, could it? Although I do like this blue one down the bottom, where he appears to have actually turned into Sonic Blast Man, and is for some reason waving a lightsaber around. Light up sword without sounds, light up eyes. Includes 2 AA penlight batteries. Lovely. Insert weapon on right hand of Sonic Man, then press any one of the 8 buttons on back of figure for different combat sound with light. Yep, we all know what they're going to be. That's not very interesting, actually. It's been quite well translated, which is always a shame. But it does show you the most important feature, which is that opening the battery cover is effectively taking his arse off, which is always bonus points as far as I'm concerned. So, let's have a look at fake Robocop. We've said Robocop too many times. We must now sing the Robocop song.
He is a robot. He is a cop. He is a Robocop. They shot his head in, then he was dead in. Now he's a Robocop.
Ah, if music be the food of love, eat something. Yes, it is Sonic Man, who is quite obviously Robocop, but let's not worry about that. I really like the design, mainly because it's pretty much a more svelte version of Robocop, and with some marks on the... Is that a crack? No, that's not a crack, that's just where the plastic's gone funny. Oh, that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Everything's ruined. Also, his gun looks absolutely rubbish due to that bright colour, but we'll get onto that in a second. Articulation is slim, to say the least. Legs don't move. Arms move here. Base and head doesn't move at all. 2 points of articulation. Great. Creep moves. Yaw. So, yeah, the buttons on the back, you can already guess what noises they're going to make, can't you? I'll just show you his arse coming off, because that is amusing. Ready? Let's go in order. Oh, I should point out, actually, this is very, very cleverly done. The guns have 2 little contacts in them, which fit into contacts on the hands and provide the electricity for the end of the gun to flash and light up. Unfortunately, it's broken, so we won't be seeing that happening today, which is a big shame. I even took it apart and checked the wiring, and it all seems fine, so God knows what's going on. So, sound effect number 1. Rubbish. Sound effect 2. Annoying siren. Sound effect 3. Oh, I hate that one. It's literally the start of one of the other sound effects cut off. So pointless. Sound effect 4. Now we're talking. I really wish the end of the gun lit up. And maybe his eyes didn't, because that is weird. So, machine gun. Sound 5. Cyber flatulence? No idea. Sound 6. That just sounds like a phone. Hello? Good afternoon. We have received information that you have been involved in a workplace accident. Ugh. God almighty, you can't escape them, can you? Sound effect 6. No idea. And sound effect 7. I've gotten the numbers wrong at some stage. I just said 6 instead of 7 and 7 instead of 8. God, that's annoying, isn't it? I bet that's horribly loud on camera as well. Hey, headphone users. Sorry. Yeah, he's also throwing the gun out of his hand. Other shit guns he comes with. Laser gun thing. I don't know which is worse, actually. They're both quite terrible in their own ways. And finally, the mighty lightsaber thing. I really wish that one lit up. There we are. So, what do I make of Sonic Man? I think it's pretty good, to be brutally honest with you. It would have been cheap. I mean, I'd buy that for $1. Probably was $1 back in the day. Sort of thing you'd buy from Snetterton Market if you're in the UK. But yeah, it's a nice looking thing on the shelf. There's not much play value. Really, it's just one of those cheap bloody sound effects kits which you find absolutely everywhere if you travel back in time to like 1990. In fact, it says 1990 on the belt, just to prove it. There we are. You stand up there, Robo. I mean Sonic. Sonic Chew, the original Robocop character. That'll be it. Ah, dearie me. I imagine him as a sort of Robocop who can't be bothered. His prime directives are sod to the public trust, forget the innocent, and ignore the law. Directive 4 remains classified, but it's something to do with bus passes. You know, it just occurs to me, on Barshans, we did a poor man's cosplay of Robocop, where we essentially wrapped poor Eli Silverman up in silver foil. And you know what? It did look quite Robocop-y at the end. Unfortunately, due to me not thinking about it until literally just now, it's not even online yet, and may not be online for weeks or months. So, I tell you what, I'll link it when it comes up. Yes. And now, in phrases you never thought you'd hear on this channel, Cunt and the Gang have a new album out. Look, Cunt signed it to me and everything. Ashens, wanks very much, mate. All the breast, Cunt. And he's even drawn an ejaculating penis and some breasts. Marvellous. And they're also touring at the moment. Well, the moment I upload this video. So go and have a look. Why don't you? I'm slightly disappointed that he's actually signed the cellophane, which means I couldn't open it until I'd done this video. And then when I do, all the signage will come off. I'll have to go and see him and get him to sign it or something. If you don't know what Blue Ruffle is a reference to, frankly, you're very lucky. So yeah, it's rude comedy songs. You've probably guessed that much. And no, this isn't sponsored or anything. It just really amuses me to talk about something called Cunt and the Gang when everybody else on YouTube is shit scared of swearing. It just occurred to me that Robocop is actually one of the few examples of a really major mainstream movie where there's a female character who just kind of does a job and there's no romantic subplot. Why can they manage that in films about robotic policemen but not in films about anything else? Death to tacked on romantic subplots.